You want to work here, get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
All right, welcome to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube. The channel is Nation of Jake. One word, run it all together, Nation of Jake. Subscribe. Be like Keith. I just got a new subscriber. Keith has subscribed to the Nation of Jake on YouTube. You should do the same. Also, Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake. On this, where are we? Thursday, August 8th, year of our Lord 2019, rainy 79 degrees as we speak here from the East Memphis studios. High today says 89. I don't think it's going to get there. I think there's some more rain in the forecast. It's kind of slacked off a little bit. This morning, it poured down. The sky was black. And then it kind of drifted off for a while. But they say more rain is in the forecast, even for the weekend, which is fine by me. We could use some rain. I'm fine with those weekends where you stay inside, get stuff done that way. And I'm really not happy about the 107-degree heat indices that we've been experiencing the past few days. So I'm good with it. This weekend, the 2020 Democratic candidates are in Iowa for the Iowa State Fair. So look for extremely unflattering and photoshoppable photos of the 2020 Democrat candidates eating corn dogs. You always see that. You always see people getting their photo taken at the Iowa State Fair mid-bite. I mean, the most unflattering pictures. Poor Michelle Bachmann. Remember her? Michelle Bachmann from Minnesota. She thought it was a good idea to run for president back in 2012. And she would go and she would eat corn dogs at these festivals and fairs, and there was always somebody from some magazine or some TV station taking photos of her mid-bite with a corn dog in her mouth, and that's a really bad look and a dangerous game for women. And they got called out. Oh, why you posting all these unflattering photos of Michelle Bachmann? But then Rick Perry goes out there and he just looks fine. He's all debonair and suave with a corn dog in hand. But then Michelle Bachmann's all like, blah, with a corn dog in her mouth. So you got to be careful when you're out, really anywhere, if you're out eating corn dogs. Just be mindful of the cameras. We're going to talk about why in the hell is Iowa so important anyway? Who cares that much about Iowa? Well, there's a method to the madness when it comes to those caucuses and primaries. Hey, we got some outrage. Yeah, of course. It can't be a week in the Nation of Jake without outrage. A new movie coming out from Universal Pictures. This is like a big budget movie. I don't know, $20 million movie, not massive budget. This is not an Avengers movie. But Universal Pictures has a film that centers around liberal elites who hunt and kill Trump supporters. Yeah, it's kind of like a riff on The Most Dangerous Game. That play from back in the day, Reader's Digest version. We used to read these in these little, just abridged versions in school. But I remember in 7th grade, we read The Most Dangerous Game, where there's a rich guy who wanted to hunt humans because hunting animals didn't provide enough of a challenge. So he wanted to hunt humans, and so he did. People would get shipwrecked or marooned on his island, and he would cut them a deal, say, hey, I'm going to hunt you, but if you survive the game, so to speak, you're going to get a big payday. Now, this is probably not the best movie to release anytime soon, especially in wake of, mass shootings and all this heightened political rhetoric, but I'm going to give it a shot. All right, maybe this is not what you think. Maybe this isn't the blue state versus red state, liberal Hollywood elite kind of film you think it is. We'll talk about that more in just a few minutes. Oh, by the way, we're all going to die soon. That's right. We've got another UN climate report that says we've got until 2030 in order to turn this climate change thing around. And they've got a couple of keys, a couple of things we need to do to stave off the countdown to extinction And we'll also talk to Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist, and we will also hop on the news cruise for all the latest headlines. The big story today, at least the one I've been following, is this manhunt. There's a manhunt underway for an escaped West Tennessee State Penitentiary inmate. Oh, no. This guy got out after killing one of the prison personnel. A manhunt is underway in West Tennessee, up in Henning, Tennessee, after a prison administrator was found dead Wednesday morning and a violent inmate escaped. Curtis Ray Watson, 44 years old, escaped the prison and is a person of interest in the homicide of a Tennessee Department of Correction employee. Wednesday's homicide victim, Deborah Johnson, age 64, was a corrections administrator at the prison. She worked for the state of Tennessee for 38 years. The TBI is leading the manhunt. TBI sent agents to Henning, about 60 miles north of Memphis. Forensic scientists are also responding to the scene. Now, they've just had a news conference, and there's a $32,000 reward for the capture of Curtis Ray Watson. Now, they just had a press conference. The TBI says he escaped sometime Wednesday, but it wasn't until they found the body of Deborah Johnson that they discovered that Watson was missing. The TBI is offering a $2,500 reward for Watson's capture. In addition, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is offering $5,000, and the Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, not personally, but the state of Tennessee is offering an additional $25,000. So there was, this press conference was just moments ago. Says here the TBI has received more than 75 tips of possible sightings in Tennessee and other states. They are pursuing most credible reports first and going from there. They're saying that he could be anywhere at this point. So this is serious stuff. Whenever there's a jailbreak or inmates that escape, I always, kind of go the route of, oh yeah, you got your Shawshank, you've got these movies and stuff like that. But this is serious. This is a guy who allegedly has murdered an old lady who's worked for the state for 38 years. He's dangerous. They say he's 5'11", 140 pounds. This is a Caucasian. In the first mugshot released, he's bald and has a big old gray beard. But then the TBI has also released more photos of him in case he shaved or somehow altered his appearance. Where is he? They don't know. The TBI officials did not release any indication of Watson's likely route, leaving residents worried he might show up in their backyards. Jennifer Kuntz, who lives about a mile from the prison, said she found out Watson at a tractor found up the road from where she should have been. Kuntz said she saw a helicopter searching for Watson around 2 p.m. Ellen Strong, a neighbor, says it's not unusual because it's farming season in the neighborhood, so they often see helicopters out there. And so he's still out there. He's on the lam. He's on the run. And so we are monitoring this. How did he escape? Johnson was found dead in her residence. I guess Deborah Johnson, the administrator who was killed, she lived on a residence there at the penitentiary. She was found dead about 11:30 a.m. Wednesday, according to Tennessee Department of Corrections Commissioner Tony Parker. Johnson lived in one of about a dozen on-site residences at the facility. Authorities quickly determined there were signs of foul play, and a manhunt for Watson was initiated. Officials said Watson worked on the grounds as a farm laborer. A tractor was discovered about a mile from the prison. District Attorney General Mark Davidson requested TBI to search for Watson and investigate the homicide of the Tennessee Department of Corrections Administrator Deborah Johnson. A TBI tweet said that Watson should be considered extremely dangerous. Well, who is he? Why was he in the clink to begin with? Watson's sentence was connected to a Henry County conviction from 2013. Henry County Sheriff Monty Ballou urged the community to be aware of the possibility Watson could return to the area, which is approximately 100 miles northeast of the prison. So maybe he's headed back to Henry County. The suspect does have ties to the community. We are urging our citizens to have a heightened awareness and use caution. He urged anyone who spotted Watson to contact the police. Representative Chris Hurt from Halls released a statement Wednesday afternoon in response to the escape and the homicide. This is in the hands of the TBI at this point. Why was he in prison? Well, turns out that Watson had served almost 6 years of his current sentence, which was expected to last until 2025. He was sentenced in 2013 to serve 15 years in connection with an especially aggravated kidnapping charge, according to criminal history provided by the TBI. Watson was charged in connection with an incident in July of 2012 when he held a woman against her will at his place. During the incident, Watson also hit the woman with an aluminum baseball bat. He was originally charged with aggravated kidnapping, but the charge was amended to the more serious charge of especially aggravated kidnapping. So this is a bad dude. He is already allegedly killed someone on his way out of the prison, and now he's on the run, on the loose, so everybody needs to keep an eye out, because we don't know where he went. I mean, you don't know. He gets out in Henning, which is up 51, I guess, past Covington, hit about 60 miles up there, up that way, through Millington, through Atoka, Covington, Brighton, Munford, and all that, and then you've got Henning, and I guess this is where the penitentiary is. So maybe he went north, where he's from, or who knows, maybe he just took the path of least resistance wherever he could go. I mean, did he steal a car? Is he on foot? Is he hiding out? Did he jump in a creek? At this point, he could be anywhere. That is according to the TBI news conference about Curtis Watson. So, and that's scary stuff. And we're talking about a guy who is, here's the thing about it. You read about him. He's 5'11" white guy, says he's 140 pounds. That's not big. I mean, I've got 30 or 40 pounds on the guy. But honestly, when they're talking about people who are extremely dangerous, it's what they're capable of doing. I mean, regardless if he's armed or not, it is what somebody is capable of doing to you. Taking you by surprise, holding you hostage, stealing your stuff, knocking you out with anything, any blunt object. Because most of us are not capable of doing that stuff unless the situation calls for it. In an extreme situation, I could probably take a baseball bat and crack somebody over the head and kill them if I had to. But I would not do that. Something would keep... even if I'm really mad at somebody, even if somebody gives me a reason to really want to punch them in the head, we have restraint. Normal individuals, reasonable people. You might think about it. I could kill you right now, right? But something stops you. A guy like this, there's nothing to stop him. He's a sociopath. Anybody who is capable of going and murdering a 64-year-old woman on his way out to steal a tractor or to escape from prison when you're already there for holding somebody against their will and hitting them with a baseball bat. This guy is dangerous, and if you see him, alert the authorities. Alert the TBI, local law enforcement, and again, so they're saying that they've got this blue alert. I got the notification yesterday. The blue alert. We need your help to find Curtis Ray Watson, an escapee of the West Tennessee State Penitentiary in Henning. He's also the person of interest in the homicide of a Tennessee Department of Corrections employee today. If you see him, and they've attached a picture on their Twitter account, again, is a guy, white guy, 5'11", 140 pounds, bald, last known to have a big gray beard. Looked like he could be in the band Anthrax or something like that. 44 years old. So if you see him, 911 or 800 TBI find if you see the guy. So we'll be monitoring this. A manhunt on the loose, extremely dangerous, already responsible allegedly for the murder of one person. That's not comforting at all to know that he could be anywhere. This happened yesterday. So he's got a full day head start. mean, usually they catch these guys pretty quick. There was a guy not long ago, last week, a white supremacist who escaped from jail over in Arkansas, and they had him within a day. I expect the TBI to get their man. It's really difficult for these guys to go and blend in and not be seen. So that's what's happening here in the Mid-South. We've got a manhunt on for this dude. Bad dude. Bad guy. I hope they catch him. I hope they catch him quick before he hurts anybody else. Coming up in a little bit, The Hunt is actually the name of the movie that's coming out that's got everybody triggered. And the whole premise is that liberal elites get to hunt and kill Trump supporters. Kind of like a sick fantasy on the silver screen. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm also going to take a few minutes and I'm going to review that new Tool single that's out, Fear Inoculum. So if you like Tool or if you want to learn more about them, I'll give you a little primer on that. But coming up next, we're all going to die soon. According to the United Nations Climate Report, that's right. The climate report that came out a few months ago told us we're all going to die soon. This one confirms, oh yes, we're all going to die soon, but there are a couple of things we can do to make it less soon, I guess. If you buy in, if you believe this stuff, we'll talk about it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
Live from Memphis, it's the Eye on Memphis show with host Betty Lamar. Eye on Memphis is wall-to-wall conversations featuring top doctors and community leaders monitoring social disparities in healthcare. Eye on Memphis with Betty Lamar on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. Saturdays at 12 noon. Sponsored in part by AM Diabetes and Endocrinology Center in Bartlett.
All right.
Yes, have some.
Welcome back to it, the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. We're online, KWAMTheVoice.com. streaming live on YouTube. You can check out the YouTube channel, Nation of Jake. One word, Nation of Jake. There on YouTube. Subscribe. Tell your friends about the nation. All right. So we are keeping our eye on the manhunt. Curtis Ray Watson. If you see him, call 911. He's dangerous. This is a bad guy. I wonder how he gets the detail. He's up in Henning at the state pen. How does he get to work out on a farm? This is a guy who's been convicted of child abuse, especially aggravated kidnapping, in which he hit a woman over the head with a baseball bat. He's serving 15 years, and they put him out in a field and let him work? That's a question that I would ask the folks in charge of the prison. Maybe the Tennessee Department of Corrections themselves need a correction on how to better manage the inmates. I mean, if this guy had the opportunity to go and kill a prison employee and enroll and then peace out, they may rethink who they let out to perform farm labor up in Henning, Tennessee. That's a question, because right now we've got a man on the loose, a manhunt now being led by the TBI, Curtis Ray Watson. He escaped from prison, and on his way out, he allegedly murdered a prison employee. And so that is the number one story here in the Mid-South. More broadly, we're all going to die soon, and it's because we are not good stewards of the earth. Now, this is according to yet another Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change from the United Nations. It says that humans have damaged around a quarter of ice-free land on Earth. A quarter of the ice-free land on Earth has been damaged, United Nations scientists warned in a major report Thursday, stressing that further degradation must be stopped to prevent catastrophic global warming. Now, this warning comes almost a year after the last warning, which concluded in a landmark report that we only have until the year 2030 to drastically reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and prevent the planet from reaching the crucial threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Now, that's the thing. If we rise above 1.5 degrees Celsius, 1.21 gigawatts, then we are screwed. The second IPCC report highlights the vicious cycle of climate change and land degradation. God, it's so bleak. You want to talk about extreme rhetoric? You want to talk about stuff that gets people really upset? It's this kind of stuff. I mean, somebody who doesn't know to be skeptical reads this kind of stuff and they think it is an emergency. If you tell people the world will end in 2030, or we only have until 2030 to prevent the world from ending, they may take drastic steps. They may go hurt people. They may go and murder the climate deniers, so to speak. The thing about it is, God, they've been saying this stuff forever. Paul Ehrlich and the population bomb, they've been saying that we're going to run out of food. They were saying that we're going to get into another ice age. They've been saying this stuff for 50 years. All right, 50 years. Somehow, everything is working itself out. All right, so I'm not saying that we shouldn't be good stewards of the earth and we shouldn't degrade the land and we should look for ways to do things in a cleaner, more effective, and more efficient way. I'm not saying anything like that. Man, Uncle, you just put out your dire warning less than a year ago. Why do we need another one here? We humans affect more than 70% of ice-free land. A quarter of this land is degraded. The way we produce food and what we eat contributes to the loss of natural ecosystems and declining biodiversity. That is according to Valérie Masson-Delmotte, co-chair of the IPCC. Climate change increases the frequency of intensity of droughts, flooding, and heat waves, which can irreversibly destroy natural ecosystems and lead to food shortages. Deforestation and agriculture also fuel global warming by weakening land's capacity to draw down carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and emitting vast amounts of greenhouse gases. When land is degraded, it reduces the soil's ability to take up carbon and So yeah, we're in a situation where they're saying that we're going to ruin all this farmland, and we're not going to have enough land on which to grow crops, and there will be food shortages. It's so weird because they've been saying the whole food shortages thing forever. And I think we live in a time now where we have plenty of food. We do. We don't have any food shortages. They said that India was going to run out of food, and now India is a net exporter of food. They have so much that they have to sell it to other countries. All right, so where is this coming from? I'm skeptical because the answers are always socialism and government control. Every study that's commissioned is usually commissioned by what? By a government, right? So if you study something like this, you say, no, it's no problem. Then the government or whoever is funding the study will say, okay, then there's no need to keep funding it. But if you keep telling them, there's big problems, we need more money, then you'll get more money. Especially if you say it's an emergency, right? So yeah, it's always socialism and government control. It says here we need to stop wasting food and eat less meat. I agree with half of that statement. Last night, went out to go get some tacos and quesadillas, and I'm just obsessed with my kids finishing their plates. I know that you're only supposed to eat until you're hungry, right? And only eat until you're hungry. Don't clean your plate. Don't finish your plate. Then you'll overeat. But there's something to me about leaving a half-eaten quesadilla on a plate. It's not right. So what are you doing? It's because they filled up on chips. That's what makes me mad. Is my kids are eating all the chips and cheese and guacamole, and then they're not finishing the quesadilla. And I'm like, the quesadilla is the entree. You need to stop wasting food. All right? So I agree with stop wasting food. And then the whole eat less meat thing. We're already eating less meat. All right, and it's not because the world's going to end if we don't. We're already eating less meat. There are these companies like Impossible Meat or whatever it's called. The Whopper is like the Impossible Whopper. They've got all these meat alternatives, 3D printed burgers made out of plant-based protein. And so it's already happening. People are eating less meat because, what do we read? Red meat is bad for you. Eat pork, eat chicken. Then you read that, red meat's not as bad for you as we thought. So go ahead and eat the red meat if you want. However, all the cow farts are going to destroy the earth, so don't eat the red meat anymore. And by the way, chicken and pork is just as bad for you or just as good. I don't know. So what they're doing now is they're taking all these plant-based alternatives, turning them into like some sort of meat analog, 3D printing burger patties, and then you can go to Burger King and eat what is called an Impossible Whopper, made out of some sort of meat substitute, which when you go to a fast food joint, you're pretty much eating a meat substitute anyway. You go to a Taco Bell. I had a friend of mine, his name was Frank, and Frank was going to open a Taco Bell. He was going to be a franchisee of the great Taco Bell franchise, right? So, or the great brand of Taco Bell. He went into a Taco Bell to do a tour, and what he saw was boxes of meat that read on a label, grade D, and then in parentheses, edible. So when you go, or at least when Frank was talking about opening up a Taco Bell, you may have been eating grade D meat, which had to be differentiated from other grade D meat as edible, because apparently there's grade D meat that's not edible. So when it's a dubious claim that anything you're eating is real meat. My sister, way ahead of her time, was she used to tell me that the chicken nuggets at McDonald's were made out of reprocessed kangaroo meat. And I was always skeptical, going, come on, why would they reprocess it? But I still believed it might have been kangaroo meat, imported. I was 10 or something. But she used to call it reprocessed kangaroo meat. And lo and behold, not only do we have the Impossible Whoppers made of plant-based material, we've got a company. Mind you, capitalism and the free market are driving this. We've got a company out of Australia that is trying to culture meat from kangaroo tissue. So you could actually eat processed kangaroo meat grown in a lab. And I didn't know there was this kind of demand for kangaroo meat. Is it tasty? Is it high in protein? I don't know. We have a startup called Vow. They took 4 weeks to produce a few grams of kangaroo in a lab after obtaining a tissue sample from a farm where wild kangaroos were culled. Other companies have cultivated beef, chicken, and tuna, but Val's efforts illustrate the broader potential of lab-grown meat. It can turn exotic, hard-to-find fare into routine meals for adventurous meat eaters. Yeah, so if the Impossible Whopper, which is soon to be in every Burger King, isn't exotic enough for you, you could get some lab-grown kangaroo. The two founders have invested $50,000 into Val and received a $25,000 grant from the New South Wales state government. But here's the rub here. Here's the problem. Check this out. Val used fetal bovine serum for its first batch of kangaroo. They estimate it would currently cost about 2,000 Australian dollars to produce a kilogram of kangaroo. 2,000 Australian dollars for a kilogram of kangaroo meat, or more than $600 a pound. Is it worth it? $600 a pound, and then how many resources, how much water, how much energy are they using to produce this really expensive kangaroo meat, like this designer meat? I could buy a whole cow for $600, couldn't I? I can get milk from it, and then I could chop it up and eat it. I just don't buy it. So yeah, socialism and quit eating meat. Those are the two things, or two of the things you can do to stave off our impending doom in the year 2030. So yeah, and we've got people talking about the Green New Deal. We've got all these Democrat candidates out in Iowa right now. A lot of farmers in Iowa. They're probably like, hey, you guys want to get rid of cows? You need to answer up. We're about to go to the Iowa State Fair where they're going to have a bunch of cows on display. I've got a cow in the contest, and you want to take away my prize cow? Come on. So that said, we're all going to die soon. Quit eating meat, and also give all your money to the UN. That's what they want. All right, coming up, the new Tool single is out. I've had a day to listen, take it in. I'll review it in a little bit. Coming up, there's a new movie coming out in September, and this has got people triggered. They are outraged at the premise. The premise being liberal elites hunt and kill Trump supporters. Who greenlit this film? We'll talk about it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. Accused El Paso shooter Patrick Crusius will face a double prosecution for the murders of 22 people last weekend. Police Chief Greg Allen.
Texas will prosecute first, and then the federal government will do a secondary prosecution of the individual. So potentially this person's looking at a dual capital punishment charge on both sides.
Crusius expected to face federal hate crime charges in addition to capital murder. Last weekend's shootings continue to stoke calls for new gun controls in Congress and on the state level. CBS's Steve Dorsey.
More than 200 mayors are calling for action. In a letter Thursday to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and the top Democrat there, Chuck Schumer, they urge lawmakers to vote on 2 gun sale background check bills that have already passed the House. Lawmakers in the Senate and the House aren't expected to return to Washington until after Labor Day.
CBS News update. I'm Jim Shenedy.
Tune in Tuesday mornings at 7:35 for Let's Talk Growth with Triumph. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we'd like to share how Triumph's local focus can make banking easy for you. Do you have a bank that serves as a financial quarterback for both you and your business? Are you saving for a major purchase or buying a home? On our show, you'll hear from Triumph's experienced bankers and learn how we can help you triumph. Triumph Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Let's Talk Growth with Triumph, Tuesdays at 7:35.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from 9 to noon.
Do I care if you get out of debt? Yes, I want you to win. I want you to have a great life. But do I care if you agree with me? No, I don't care if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me about this money stuff, you're what's known as wrong. I've been doing this longer than most of my critics. They were peeing in their diaper while I was doing this stuff.
The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
This is Clark Howard. There was a story in Market Watch that has gone viral around the country. It's about a couple in the Midwest that is complaining that they just can't get by on $500,000 a year in income. So, as you might imagine, people have been harshing on them from every direction. And Market Watch had their actual spending that they have each month. The good news is that a lot of their spending was completely beyond the pale. And it's going to be very easy for them not only to balance their budget, but to save money as well. But here's the thing. A lot of people angry at that couple. The truth is that we as Americans, the more money we make, we got a new job, we got a raise, whatever, we automatically start spending more. It's up to you and me to consciously save every month before we spend.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
Yeah, the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com, on YouTube, Nation of Jake, the same on Facebook and Twitter, at Nation of Jake. The Nation of Jake podcast coming up in a little bit. I'm everywhere, y'all. Everywhere. All right, so in wake of the mass shootings, deadly mass shootings over the weekend in both El Paso and in Dayton, Ohio. Before that, Gilroy, California. And then we had in South Haven at the Walmart, a workplace shooting. It's been pretty intense lately. A lot of heightened political rhetoric and a lot of calls for gun control. So I'm not so sure it's a good time for Universal Pictures to release a film that depicts wealthy, thrill-seeking liberal elites taking a private jet to a 5-star hotel or resort where they embark on a deeply rewarding expedition that involves hunting down and killing quote-unquote deplorables. That is the premise to this movie, The Hunt, which is being released on September 27th by Universal Pictures. It's a big budget film. It's going to be out in theaters. The Hunt. All right, people are upset. In fact, Universal Pictures is not running ads for it. They're not going to purchase any time and run the trailers for it because it depicts gun violence. But people are upset. People on Twitter are reacting to it, calling the trailer beyond sick and disturbing. The Hunt was actually going to be titled Red State versus Blue State. It's billed as a satire that follows these wealthy liberals hunting down Trump supporters. Says here at least one Twitter user, Universal is releasing a horrific movie about hunting down people called The Hunt. They pulled the ads, but they have not stopped its release. Absolutely irresponsible movie and fosters hate and killing of people who don't believe the same as the hunters. Hollywood should be ashamed. Another shared, I just read a report on the movie The Hunt that comes out soon. This is why I can't pick a side. A movie about rounding up a group of deplorables and hunting them is okay? Put all the gun laws on the books, but we're entertained by a movie about killing Trump supporters? Everybody's like, really? And I gotta say, I'm surprised that this film got made. It's probably not the best idea for a movie. Okay, granted. But really what it is, it's a riff on The Most Dangerous Game. If you recall that play, I don't know, probably read it in grade school. There's a guy, wealthy guy on an island, lives some sort of castle or manor or mansion. He has people from time to time get shipwrecked on his island. And this is a hunter, big game hunter. And he's saying, you know what, it's kind of boring hunting animals because they're not smart enough, and I'm such a great hunter. I'd like to hunt a person. So he cuts a deal with a guy. Says, all right, hey, look, you're trapped here. You're stuck. I'm going to hunt you. You're going to let me. And if you can escape in the allotted time and I don't kill you, then I'll set you free and you'll be set up and you'll get paid. So I guess out of desperation or whatever it is, the guy agrees to it and he ends up winning. So the protagonist in The Most Dangerous Game is the hunted. Now, he's the good guy, right? The guy who's hunting humans is not the good guy. He's the villain. He's the bad guy. I mean, if you just go by a storytelling, any kind of storytelling, like the rules of it, this movie, The Hunt, while it's kind of shocking, the whole premise of wealthy liberal elites hunting down deplorables or Trump supporters, and it's questionable, the whole premise, but do we know what happens in the movie? Are we ready just to shut it down without knowing what happens? Because I could see this as being a commentary on how stupid the divisions are between red states and blue states. And maybe it might even make the Trump supporters or the deplorables, middle America flyover people, look good. Because it can't just be a movie where liberal, wealthy people shoot Trump supporters. That can't be the movie. It has to have a conflict and resolution. There has to be some kind of story there, right? I'm guessing that those who are being hunted, the Trump supporters, red state people, deplorables, whatever you want to call them, they somehow come out okay. At least some of them. At least one of them, maybe. And they become the hero. That's really what it has to be, doesn't it? It can't just be, oh, here's just going to be 2 hours of liberal people killing Trump supporters. So it's kind of like, when you watch a movie like Blazing Saddles. I bring up Blazing Saddles a lot because Blazing Saddles was so brilliant. It was made in 1974, Mel Brooks, you know the movie. Blazing Saddles, on the surface, is a movie of a bunch of people saying the N-word. It's really what it is. It's a bunch of jokes about race, right? But who are the heroes in that movie? It's Sheriff Bart. It's the Waco Kid, Gene Wilder. It's the non-racists. I mean, you watch the movie and all the people who are using the N-word, and it's used a lot, they're the idiots. They're the ones who are uneducated. They're the ones who are the villains. It's the good guys who are the non-racists. Right? So people watch the movie and they laugh at it for different reasons, obviously. But when you really look at it, it's an anti-racism movie. So I'll give this movie, The Hunt, a chance because what if this isn't just Hollywood, making jokes about Trump supporters and how fun it would be to go out and shoot them. Maybe it's somebody stepping off the Hollywood plantation, so to speak, and saying, hey, what if we approach it from this angle? Like, this is an absurd premise, right? Liberal people paying to go on the hunt to kill deplorables, and it gets turned on its ear. I would give it a chance before I got so outraged about it. Not that I'd go pay money to see it. I can't imagine that it would do very well in theaters because of the premise. And I looked it up. It was made for $18 million. I mean, this is not some big priority for Universal Pictures. I mean, this isn't like a big $50 million, $100 million movie. This isn't like The Avengers. This isn't going to be some big franchise. This is probably a vanity project for a director who probably wants to make some kind of commentary, but it might not be the point you think it is. That's what I'm getting at. I'd rather the movie be released, and then you can judge it on its merits, than judge it by a trailer. And honestly, a movie like this, the best thing that can happen is some kind of big controversy, like pulling the trailer off TV or off the website, whatever it is, and not promote it, because now make people even more and more curious about it. So, I don't know. So I can understand why the premise would make people upset. That said, if you gave it a shot, maybe it's going to make the opposite point that you think. Just a thought. Just a thought. Because if you know that the tenets of storytelling, that just can't be it. There's got to be a twist. There's got to be a conflict. There's got to be a resolution. It's just got to happen that way. Or else you don't have a story. So that's The Hunt. See it or don't. I'll probably wait for it to be on demand and maybe check it out. I'll definitely read the reviews. And we'll revisit it, let's say, in late September when it actually comes out and can be judged. Let's do that. I did have time to check out the new Tool song, and I've got a few minutes coming up, and I'm going to tell you about Fear Inoculum and whether or not you should check it out and give your time to the great Tool, who has this new single and then impending album coming out. We'll do that, and then we'll get on to more news of the Iowa State Fair. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com.
For baby boomers, here's something to think about. Will you have enough income during your retirement? Are you absolutely sure? Do you understand the difference between growth and income? How about bonds and bond funds? Are you 100% ready for RMDs? Do you have an estate plan? If you've said no to any of these, we can help. Right now, log on to theretirementincomeDoctor.com and tune in our brand new radio show right here, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
I'm Ed Parami, the owner of JanPro, the franchise that helps you be your own boss. JanPro is now the fastest growing franchise in the entire world for the second year in a row by Entrepreneur Magazine. We are growing so fast we need new business owners right here in Memphis right now. So if you want to be your own boss and open your own business, call JanPro at 901-683-4900 to see just how easy it is to be your own boss. For as little as $950 down, you can be a part of JanPro. Don't waste another minute. Call 901-683-4900.
Did you know that your potential customers look at your website and determine your credibility within 8 seconds? Make sure your business reflects the quality service you provide. Contact Control Alt Design for a free quote today. Today's marketplace is very competitive and you need a professional web presence. Control Alt Design offers web design at a fraction of what the larger firms charge. Control Alt Design has been helping local businesses stand out on the web for over 20 years. They also offer logo design, business card design, flyers, brochures, and more. See their work today at ControlAltDesign.com.
You and your friends and associates are invited to attend the Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair, Thursday, September 19th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Brown Missionary Baptist Church, located at 7200 Swinia Road in South Haven, Mississippi. There will be health exams, flu shots, entertainment, and this year, there'll be food trucks on site to allow you to enjoy lunch while you're there, and a demonstration on healthy living by the Silver Sneakers. The Mississippi Senior Expo and Health Fair is promoted by the DeSoto Times and the Best Times. Mark your calendar for September 19th. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. All right, so I've been talking this week about how all the 40-some-year-old dudes are excited about the new Tool album coming out, and kind of to promote the fact that Tool has a new album coming out. Tool has, for the first time ever, released all their music on the streaming sites. So, look, I've been listening to Undertow and Anima and Opiate, the first 3 releases by Tool. It sounds great. And it's also very convenient to have on the Spotify. That's where I listen to music. But then yesterday, they released a new single from the new album, Fear Inoculum. Now, this is the first album Tool has put out in 13 years. All right, so people get really excited about that. I mean, 13 years between albums. It became a joke. It was like, oh yeah, the Tool album, when's that going to be? Another 10,000 days? Get it? Because 10,000 days was the last time they put out an album in 2006. It was called 10,000 Days. So, ha-ha. It's this whole little Tool humor for you. So, what is that? So anyway, they put out this new song, and everybody's really excited about it. And I think that some people, they have to like it. They feel like they have some sort of obligation to like it because it's Tool, right? And if you don't like Tool or never heard of them, I'm speaking another language. They were just a very big, important band, like, say, in the early to mid-'90s. And they were highly influential, and they were enigmatic, and they kind of did whatever they wanted. Like, you wait 5, 6, 7, 13 years between albums. So they released a song yesterday, and it sounds like this. It's 10 minutes long. And it just has, like, noises. It does this for a while. And it just kind of does this. I mean, it's still doing this a minute and 17 seconds in. You're almost 2 minutes in, and the guy hasn't sung any lyrics yet. Come on, Maynard. Here we go. It just kind of sounds like, yeah, Tool. This is doing the same thing. I'm just skipping around. Here we go. All right, look, it would be a decent song if they would cut it down to a 4-minute version. Maybe I'd do that. Sometimes less is more. All right, so I'm just going to say the new song is too long and is boring. And I got raked over the coals on the old Facebook for giving my opinion because apparently I'm just supposed to love everything this band puts out because I liked what they put out 23 years ago. But they're not the same band they were 23 years ago. All right, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not afraid of you guys. You can't bully me into liking something I don't like. I don't care what kind of pedigree this band has. What have you done for me today? That's what I want to know. But I will say it was nice of them to put out all the old music that I did like just a few days ago. So what they did for me on Monday was pretty nice. Yesterday, not so much. All right, 2020 presidential hopefuls at the fair.
CBS News at the top of every hour, serving Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. This is The Voice, KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Sheneby. New information about accused El Paso shooter Patrick Crucius as the 21-year-old's mother had apparently called the police in a Dallas suburb, Allen, Texas, weeks before the attack. CBS's Janet Shamlian.
In a statement, the family's attorney says that the mother's call to the Allen Police Department was purely informational. The family's attorney, Chris Ayers, told us Lori Crucius had, quote, absolutely no fear of violence violence nor any belief of an intent to do harm. Instead, she was concerned about her 21-year-old son owning an assault-style rifle due to his age and lack of experience with that type of firearm.
Crucius will face double prosecution for gunning down 22 people last weekend, first by the state and then by the federal government. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has announced plans to beef up mental health services for young people in the wake of the Dayton shooting.
In almost every one of these tragedies of mass shooting, if you drill down and trace that guy's, and it's usually a guy, you trace his history, you'll find that he had trauma, that he had a mental health problem, that he had antisocial behavior that was evident very early on in his life.
Democrats and an increasing number of Republicans want more gun control.
West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin and Pennsylvania Republican Pat Toomey's bill would require background checks on most private party gun sales. It was introduced in the wake of the Sandy Hook shooting but was defeated in the Senate. Now offices for the senators confirmed to CBS News that both men have talked with the president this week, with Manchin telling Mr. Trump he'll need to be outspoken on the bill in order to get more Republicans on board. Bill Rakoff, CBS News, Washington.
No guns were involved in a one-man rampage in Southern California. 4 people stabbed to death, 2 others seriously injured, more than a half dozen businesses robbed, allegedly by a 33-year-old man that police described as enraged. Garden Grove Lieutenant Carl Whitney.
At multiple locations, there's video of the suspect actually doing this crime. We have video that shows him attacking these people and conducting these murders. So that's going to be great evidence for us for prosecution.
New rules for U.S. flagged vessels sailing through the Persian Gulf. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
The Maritime Agency is telling U.S. flagged commercial vessels to send their transit plans to American and British naval authorities before they sail into Gulf waters. The U.S. and Britain have joined forces in a security mission in the region. There have been several incidents involving tankers in Iran near the Strait of Hormuz, where about a fifth of the world's oil passes.
A former New York Boy Scout leader who had 10,000 images and 600 videos of child pornography has now been sentenced to more than 6 years in prison. On Wall Street, the Dow up 296 points, the NASDAQ up 155. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Chenovy.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in an asset that can potentially pay for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-defined accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call now to learn how you can potentially achieve 20 or more years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income. Call 1-800-803-8511. Invest in your future and buy oil. Encore is drilling in an area that is potentially one of the most prolific horizontal oil plays in the entire country. Oil prices are projected to rise, so you need to own a piece of an oil field. Encore Energy is the most active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-803-8511. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-803-8511. Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
Social media is playing a bigger role in our purchasing habits. CBS's Wendy Gillette.
A new survey from the business news website The Manifest says 52% of Americans are more likely to purchase from a brand they follow on Facebook. That's more than 7 other social media sites combined, including Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. The platform remains on top despite recent criticism, privacy concerns, and congressional inquiries.
Major surgery doubles a person's risk of experiencing a decline in mental skills. That's the bottom line to a longitudinal study of more than 7,000 people. It found that those who underwent major operations were twice as likely to suffer substantial cognitive decline, including in reasoning, memory, and language skills. The decline may be the result of brain damage from a number of factors related to the surgery, including anesthesia, mini strokes, and inflammation. By some estimates, 1 in 40 people suffers a significant decline in mental ability after a major operation. Jim Chenovy, CBS News.
Have you ever thought about saying goodbye to your job? Just walking into your boss and saying, I quit. And how would you like to commute to work without ever leaving your home? Well, not long ago, a 39-year-old entrepreneur from a billionaire family spent $20 million in 3 years to find the best home-based business in North America. He researched 70 different companies, and when he found the only one that had real long-term potential, he bought it. And right now, he's looking for people to help him turn this company into his next billion-dollar success story. So if you're serious about making money from home without having to leave your home, well, grab a pen, because I'm about to give you the address of a website where you can learn all about this unique and rare opportunity. Write this down, www.goherenext.com. Now get on your computer and go to this site now. Part-time or full-time, your income is based totally on your performance. Interested? GoHereNext.com and say goodbye to your boss tomorrow. Go Here Next.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, have some.
Welcome back to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Also online with the live stream on the YouTube channel. That's Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake. You can also follow along on Facebook. That's a good way to contact me if you want. Post something up on the wall, or you can send me a message, or you can tweet at me at Nation of Jake on Twitter. Big story today in the area, up in Henning, Tennessee, about 60 miles north on Highway 51, the state penitentiary. There's been a jailbreak. There's been an escape. Curtis Ray Watson, age 44, is on the loose. TBI says he could be anywhere. One of the Tennessee Department of Corrections administrators was found dead in her residence yesterday morning at 11:30 a.m., and then they found out that Curtis Ray Watson was missing. He's on the run. He's a person of interest in that murder of the TDOC employee, and now he's on the loose. There's a $32,000 reward for his capture. So nobody really knows where he is. There have been tips that have been called in, about 75 tips, and the TBI is running those down right now, working feverishly and furiously on bringing him back in. Imagine if you are in the area, if you live up that way, or you're from the town he's from, which is about, I guess, 100 miles away. Let me find because this is a bad dude. He had been sentenced to 15 years for especially aggravated kidnapping. He's also was convicted on aggravated child abuse charges back in 2002. There's a possibility that he would return to Henry County, which is about 100 miles northeast of the prison. He has ties to the community there in Henry County. So, look, I got the notification, the blue alert on my phone, kind of like the Amber Alert or a flash flood warning. Everybody's phones buzzed yesterday, and it said, Henning, Tennessee, and it said somebody escaped from prison. And so I usually, if it's not Memphis or Shelby County, I just say, oh, wow, that's crazy. That said, I wasn't really sure how close Henning was, about 60 miles from here up Highway 51, and I didn't have the information that he had allegedly killed one of the prison workers on his way out. He was on some sort of farm detail, doing farm labor. So I guess they trusted him enough for him to get that kind of detail. But he decided he was going to bust out, and so they're on the loose, or they're on the lookout. He's on the loose, and right now the best thing to do if you're in the listening area and you see this guy, call 911. Call 911 and tell them that you see Curtis Ray Watson. It said earlier, and it has since been corrected, the guy's 5'11", 180. Earlier, I had read 5'11", 140. They were off by about 40 pounds. So 5'11", 180, he is a full-grown man. Stay away from him. They say he's dangerous, capable of hurting and or killing people. You don't want to engage him on your own. Call the authorities, local police, 911 if you see this guy. $32,000 reward for his capture. Some of that coming from the TBI, some from the state of Tennessee. So we're following this story as it develops. It's unfolding in real time, but he's still out there. And again, I always think of things like Shawshank Redemption and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I'm quickly reminded those are movies about jailbreaks. And there's really nothing funny or nothing exciting. All this is bad with somebody being killed and this guy out on the loose. He's in a whole heap of trouble when they catch up to him, and they will catch up to him, hopefully, before he goes out and hurts anyone else. So that's the number one story that is actually ongoing. Nationally, we can talk about Donald Trump. I know that the national news, I'm wondering, I've been in the talk radio game for a while now. I started producing talk radio in the Obama administration on the front end of that. What did talk shows talk about before Obama was president? Because I know that right-wing talk radio just hammered on Obama for 8 years. And now we've got Donald Trump, and we're going to hammer on Trump. But was it like this during W's administration? How about during Clinton? Because there was talk radio. I mean, there was talk radio before the president became topic A of every conversation, right? But now we're in an election season. Not an election year yet, but an election season. All right, so now it's even amped up more because we're not just talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker and Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke and Amy Klobuchar and Kirsten Gillibrand and all the other creeps and weirdos, the cavalcade who are running for president, and they're all phonies. All of them. I think anybody who runs for president, you have to be a phony. First of all, because you have to sit there and you have to care about Iowa. Nobody cares about Iowa. Nobody does. Not really. But because Iowa has written it that they're the first caucus or the first primary or whatever, they get all this attention, this outsized attention in an election cycle. All the candidates are going to Iowa for the Iowa State Fair because they have to go out and be seen and they have to act like Iowans. For whatever reason, it makes no sense. Iowa is a microcosm of nothing. There's a lot of farmers. There's a certain way of life out there. But it's not like Iowa is a good representation of our country as a whole. So what has to happen? People like Elizabeth Warren have to go out to Iowa and act like they relate. Elizabeth Warren lives in New England, up in Boston, senator from Massachusetts. She's a part of academia. She gets paid $500,000 to go give some lectures at Harvard. She has nothing in common with a farmer in Iowa. Nothing at all. And it's funny watching her go out and try to talk to these farmers about, what's happening, about, what would work for them. This is actual footage of Elizabeth Warren talking to a farmer in Iowa about carbon and the Green New Deal and all kinds of... Well, that Tool song's still playing, by the way. Get that off there. This is just embarrassing. Listen.
And is this part of the reason?
Yes, part of the reason.
Part of the reason's on the front end,
yes.
How it all gets produced, and then part of it on the back end
We
in terms of
grow these large amounts of commodities that go for fuel or for feed to livestock, which we should less than corn. Cattle should not, ruminants are not designed to eat corn.
Right.
But yet, I would say we shouldn't get rid of, the Green New Deal says we need to get rid of cows. I don't agree with that because...
You hear that? You hear that? The Green New Deal, which Elizabeth Warren has endorsed, says we need to get rid of cows. Well, at least that's what this farmer thinks, and that's what everybody else thinks. You know why? Because it said so. You know what her answer was? She's kind of like did her hand to the side. It's because she's not committed to the Green New Deal. And this is a talking point for her. And when she actually goes to talk to a farmer, he's explaining to her why, cows and the grass and what they eat, how it produces carbon, how it naturally is a cycle. And she just, right, yeah, right. She's just pretending to understand what this guy's all about. And you're going to see this. You're going to see that all these candidates are going to go to the Iowa State Fair. And this has been going on forever. They all go to the Iowa State Fair, and they try to be among the Iowans, among the people, eating fried foods, corn dogs, grilling up pork chops, and stuff like that. It hasn't always gone well. Howard Dean took one bite of a deep-fried Oreo and dismissively pitched the rest into the garbage. Mitt Romney famously flipped a pork chop right into the gravel. John Kerry capped his Iowa State Fair with a strawberry smoothie rather than a cold beer. Usually, you got all these reporters following you around, and if you do weird stuff, it's kind of like when in Rome, when in Iowa, do as the Iowans. You're supposed to eat the deep-fried Oreo. Eat the whole thing. You're supposed to know your way around a grill. You drink a beer, not a strawberry smoothie? Come on. But now you've got all eyes on the 2020 field. You've got all these different challenges, all right? You've got bacon-wrapped corn dogs and hot beef sundaes. Challenges for Tulsi Gabbard, who's a vegetarian, and Senator Cory Booker, who's a vegan. What are they going to do? So they're going to go out there. They're going to be seen like they're among the Iowans. And what does it matter? What does it matter if they relate to the people of Iowa? Well, here's what matters. The polls in Iowa kind of set the tone for all the donors. That's really it. This is just kind of like a tryout for the political ruling class, who they're going to get behind. It's just a weird way to filter out all these candidates. It's like, yeah, send them to Iowa, see how they do. It's like, wait, how they do in Iowa? Iowa looks nothing like the rest of the country. I just think it's so broken. Everything that we do, everything that we try here with our electoral processes, it's all stupid. It's real goofy. So, look for all these unflattering photos of, say, Amy Klobuchar with a corn dog sticking out of her mouth. Highly photoshoppable and highly unflattering is what you're going to see these photos. But, maybe it is a good way. Maybe we can say goodbye to a few of these candidates if they offend the folks at the Iowa State Fair by not eating their deep-fried Oreos or funnel cakes or whatever it is. Just such a phony way to do stuff. I will say the coolest thing to come out of Iowa today, though, is they've announced that the Red Sox, check that, White Sox, the Chicago White Sox and the New York Yankees are going to play at the Field of Dreams in Iowa in 2020. Check it out. We got Aaron Judge of the Yankees.
Hey, is this heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
Yeah, so they put Aaron Judge there in the Shoeless Joe Jackson role for a promo that the Yankees and White Sox will play at the Field of Dreams in Iowa. Field of Dreams right in the middle of the cornfield on August 13th of 2020. I guess that would be right during the Iowa State Fair. But there won't be any presidential candidates in Iowa at that point, right? They won't be up there in 2020 on August 13th. They'll be in the battleground states. That's where they'll be. I guess we'll see. It's all goofy that we're paying so much attention to Iowa at this point. Really, anytime at all. All right, coming up, we've got Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist. We'll take a look at his latest column and talk to him about, the aftermath of these mass shootings. And is Donald Trump really going to commute the sentence of Rod Blagojevich? Is that something he needs to do? Is that good for business? I don't know. We'll ask Ron about that next, right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about retirement, you've got to know it's all about income. Your money making money. The Retirement Income Doctor wants to teach you how it's done. Give us a call and we'll send you a free animated video kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848, the number 2, income. And tune us in, The Retirement Income Doctor, Saturday mornings at 10. Call now for your free income kit. 848-2-INCOME. 848-2-INCOME.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs, those little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
Don't miss Maine and Mulberry Live every Thursday morning at 8 right here on KWAM The Voice. Maine and Mulberry Live explores the crossroads of modernization and small-town tradition, exemplified in Collierville, Tennessee. Host Keith Essery sits down with local entrepreneurs, thriving businesses, city officials, and thought leaders right here every Thursday at 8 a.m. Tune in and learn how a town comes of age with economic growth. Maine and Mulberry Live is brought to you by John Green and Company Realtors, building neighbors for 40 years.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. Online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on Facebook. Check that, YouTube. I always say Facebook, I mean YouTube. I changed over from Facebook to YouTube because YouTube is a more reliable stream. We can do more there on YouTube than we can on Facebook, so make sure to go to YouTube and subscribe to the Nation of Jake there. But you can also follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Nation of Jake. We've been all over the place today. All right, we've talked about the Iowa State Fair and all the phonies going to visit the Iowa State Fair, the presidential field for 2020. The Democrats, they'll go up there and they'll make fools of themselves and get photographed with corn dogs in their mouths. It'll be unflattering. They'll look stupid. But every year, every presidential candidate goes to Iowa. We've talked about that. Around here, we've got the big prison escape. We've got an inmate escape from the state penitentiary in Henning, Tennessee, just about 60 miles north up on Highway 51. The TBI, still looking for him, still taking tips. If you see the guy, stay away from him. Call 911. His name is Curtis Ray Watson. He's a white guy. He's bald, had a big beard. He's looks like he would be very, very excited about the new Tool record coming out. He just looks like a heavy metal fan. He's got a lot of bad tattoos. We've been over that. We've talked about, good Lord, we've talked about everything. We have not yet talked to Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist. And thank God he's here. Ron, welcome into the Nation of Jake. How are you, man?
Great to be here, buddy.
Too much going on today, man. It's one of those ADD shows where everything is just kind of pouring in. We're keeping our eye on this escaped inmate, and then we've got all this other goofy stuff going on in the world. What's on your mind this week?
You know that in Iowa, every 4 years they go there. The only time a liberal ends up in Iowa, if it's not for a presidential campaign, it's a plane crash. That's the only reason they would go to that state.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much power Iowa has. I guess in the eyes of, this is really just for like the political donor class. I mean, it's not for the people. I mean, it's insane. They go up to Iowa, spend an outsized amount of time there, so much focus, and all they're doing is being phony. They want to eliminate cows, and they're out there talking to farmers.
Yeah, they go up there. Yeah, they want to eliminate cows, talking about methane gas, et cetera. Then they also want to subsidize ethanol, of course. That's the big litmus test in Iowa. Are you willing to subsidize ethanol? Ethanol gas costs $12 a gallon. Regular gas is about $2 a gallon. So let's just subsidize that to make it fair. So, I mean, it's a huge game. It's an embarrassment. It's an indictment on the political system. It tells you all you need to know about who these people are.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Al Gore pretty much blow the lid off? His whole ethanol subsidies. Nobody likes ethanol. It destroys engines. It greatly reduces the life of your engine. And somebody asked Al Gore, why he subsidized corn, like why the big corn subsidies, and he totally admitted. He's like, well, I was running for president, and I needed support in Iowa. It's like,
yeah, look, if something works, the free market will make it work. If it's economical and it makes sense for people, let the free market do all that stuff. Don't subsidize something that doesn't work. And the same thing with windmills and solar power and all this craziness we've done over the years, this Solyndra and this Green New Deal. Look, if something works, I can guarantee you there are enough greedy capitalists out there who will get it to market at a price much cheaper than the government can produce it and more efficient than the government can do it, and it'll benefit consumers and let it stand on its own. That's what's free. That's what's great about the free market. It's free.
Yeah, from your lips to God's ears, Ron Hart. The best thing about the Iowa State Fair is all the photos of these phonies eating food, because these photographers, they've got a talent for getting you at just the wrong moment and making you look horrible. Remember when Michelle Bachmann was running for president? And I think there was like a photographer and his only job was to get unflattering photos of Michelle Bachmann eating corn dogs.
Right. Well, they're after Republicans, clearly. I can imagine Elizabeth Warren, I think she calls corn maize, I believe.
That's right.
I may be wrong about that,
right, she's so up there.
Be confusing.
That would be great if one of these farmers would say, this is where we grow the corn. I believe you call it maize. I love that. Love it. You know what I did see, though, and I'm following along on Twitter, somebody found a candid photo of Elizabeth Warren buying lemonade from a lemonade stand. And it so happened that this Twitter account is the Twitter account that is covering Elizabeth Warren in Iowa. Like, oh my God, I just ran into Elizabeth Warren. She was buying lemonade from some kids. It's like,
ain't she sweet? Yeah.
So phony.
Like Hillary Clinton at the Chipotle getting somebody to order for her. I mean, these people are so awkward when they're out of the element of the limousine liberal world in which they live and dwell and swamp in D.C. When they get in the real world, they're pandering, they're sad, they don't really get it. And weirdly enough, Trump, as a brash New York, billionaire, really relates better to middle class America than any of these people, any of these full time, lifetime politicians. Trump, for some reason, resonates with him. I think he talks to everybody like he's talking to the foreman of a construction site in very plain language, and he kind of gets it. He understands the plight of the worker because he hires them. He understands what middle America wants. He gets it to them, and that's one thing that Democrats have not had, is someone to connect with the people. To some degree, Clinton did, obviously, in Arkansas, kind of a good old boy with a great talker, great demeanor about him, very likable personality Bill Clinton had, and he connected with the people. But there's only been two-term Democrat presidents since FDR.
Wow.
Obama and Clinton.
Right.
And usually they fall prey to the left wing of their party, and they're just limousine liberals, as we call them, and they're just out of touch, and they appear to be so by anyone looking on to them. So one thing Trump has done, he does appeal, and he's never been accepted by the gentry and society in New York or anywhere else, really.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think you're right about that, because politicians for so long have all been about the doublespeak. They all talk over your head. They make you feel good about them. They make you think that they're smart by talking over your head, most people's heads, right? And so you just assume that maybe it's like you just tap out of the conversation. You're just like, okay, I'm done. Right. I mean, great, whatever. Right. You got elected. Go do what you do. But with Donald Trump, you're like, this guy's not smart enough to pull one over on me. I've always thought that about people. Like, some of the best salesmen are the guys that you think are dumb as bricks, because you're like, there's no way that this guy's smart enough to outsmart me. So you have like some sort of, I'm not going to call it a trust factor with Donald Trump, but just like, hey, he is who he is.
Genuine.
It's all out there. Yeah, genuine. There's an authenticity, not so much as a trustworthiness. But I do have to ask you about this. What do you think about Donald Trump? He's talking about giving commuting the sentence of Rod Blagojevich. What is this? Just because he was like his buddy on The Apprentice or something?
No, I don't think so. Look, there's a lot of people taken to prison just because they're celebrities, right? Blagojevich, what he did was, trying to sell a Senate seat when Obama ran for president, he tried to auction it off. I mean, he served a lot of time in jail, but sometimes these things are often kind of, because you're a celebrity, they punish you more. Look at all the people that they go after that are celebrities. Prosecutors make their name on going after a celebrity, from Rudy Giuliani and the mob and Spitzer up in New York State.
Yeah, big fish.
They love doing that.
Yeah, big.
Yeah,
put the big fish away.
Yeah, and it's often unfair. I mean, the way they do it is uneven. It's not what they would normally do, and they make an example of people. And the thinking is, if they make an example of high-profile people, it'll keep all the little underlings like you and me at bay, and we won't do anything wrong because we're fearful of the government. So we see a big guy go down, be it R. Kelly, be it you name it. Then they overly tend to throw the book at him. I think maybe that's a little much.
Well, here's the thing about Blagojevich, though, is that he got sentenced like 14, 15, almost 18 years, I think, for he's pretty much offering up that Senate seat vacated by President Obama in order to get paid for it or to get some sort of political advantage. So he acted in a corrupt fashion, got almost 18 years in prison. He served about, 7 years? So I was always really confused because this happened like in 2008. And then he was able to go on The Apprentice, and then I guess he got convicted and then went to jail. I guess my point is, and I'll agree with you, that what Rod Blagojevich did, nobody died. He didn't kill anybody. He's been in jail for 7 or 8 years. He's probably served enough of the sentence. But what does Donald Trump have to gain? I mean, there are a lot of people like Rod Blagojevich who are probably over-sentenced or in jail for stuff that didn't hurt anybody in the long run. Well, I mean, what does he have to gain? Is this because it's his buddy? I mean, I think it's because he was on The Apprentice.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think it's, maybe he knows him. Maybe he feels like it's a fair thing to do. He's also commuted the sentences of a lot of African Americans on drug charges.
Yeah.
Including Kim Kardashian's friend, the lady, Kanye.
Alice Johnson. Yeah, Alice Johnson. She's from Memphis. Alice Johnson from Memphis. She was like a first-time drug offender. And she was doing something crazy like life in prison. And so
it's nuts. And it's nuts. And now pot's legal pretty much everywhere. I mean, we've changed our laws. There's people in prison. And Kamala Harris did the same thing out in California. She put these people in prison. So she smoked dope herself. So she listened to Tupac in college. Of course, he didn't come on the scene until 10 years after her college. So she lied about that. Or she smoked so much weed she saw the future. And but she put a lot of people in prison in a big, big way. So look, I'm a libertarian. This drug war. Look, if there's a crime, there must be a victim, and the victim must be hurt, right? Let's don't put people in prison unless we're sure that people have really been hurt. We're not safer because Papadopoulos served a week in prison, or that Michael Flynn may serve a month in prison. The country's not safer because of that. These are show trials. These are for the ego and the political vengeance of one party against another, right?
Right.
So I think we need to really rethink how we do justice. We got 16 agencies from the NSA to the CIA to the TSA, all these FBI, the DOJ. Let's take 14 agencies down to about 6, and let's put people in prison who are a danger to society. And let's just really rethink what we're doing. We have basically 22% of the world's prison population, and we're 4% of the world's population overall. We have a lot of people in prison. We really need to rethink this.
No, I don't disagree with you there, Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist. You have a column this week about Google, about how we're being manipulated in our web searches and how they have an anti-conservative bias. What do you have this week in the column?
Yeah, there's a great documentary called The Creepy Lion, and The Creepy Lion comes from Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, who said they were willing to walk right up to the edge of the creepy line on their surveillance of people. So basically, you give Google your information for free, and they basically manipulate you. They mold and message you with the information you give them on yourself. And this liberal, actually very liberal professor, Dr. Robert Epstein at Harvard, did a study, and he actually voted for Hillary, but he said that the Google manipulation of their algorithms during the 2016 election got 2.6 million more votes for Hillary. 2.6 million more votes for Hillary.
Wow!
And they'll do it again. They'll do it again this way. So if you Google Donald Trump race, it'll come up Donald Trump racist. She said they did it so blatantly that he wouldn't even have done it that blatantly. Like, for example, all top 10 searches were negative toward Trump and positive toward Hillary. He said, look, at least do 8 and 2. Not like you're trying to,
right.
If you're going to cheat, don't cheat that bad. And he's a liberal from Harvard who has a broader concern is that, hey, what's society like? These people are monopolies. Google has 90% of the search business, right? If you want to bury a dead body, or this guy escaped prison, if he wants to hide somewhere, he needs to hide on Bing or Yahoo.
Because everybody goes to Google. I mean, Google became the verb. I mean, that's just it. Right. Like, I mean, they are the brand for a web search. I mean, that is now a word. Like in the dictionary is, Google something. I mean, a credit to them. But, when you are the number one game in town, I mean, you wield a lot of power. I'll tell you about the creepy line, Ron. Sometimes you ever do this thing where, you'll be having a conversation about something. You won't even be searching it online. You'll be having a conversation with somebody, your wife or your, kids or whatever, and then you'll get online, and then ads for whatever you're talking about will be there.
Yeah,
like just because you're just talking about it. So I guess your phone, you're giving permissions for your microphone on your phone to be on, and it's somehow the AI. So. Yeah, that is beyond the creepy line, man.
Well, I Googled search one time. I thought about a Porsche car, and I immediately started getting Viagra ads. So I don't know.
Exactly. All right, Ron Hart, the latest column. You can find it online. If you Google Ron Hart, you get the real Ron Hart about 80% of the time. But the other 20% of the time, you get baseball players. You get some soccer guys.
Google me where you can, though. I may not be able, if I keep doing this with Google, I may make it block.
Right, yeah. Maybe you should use DuckDuckGo or use Bing or Yahoo. Don't use
I think
Google.
The real solution is for Fox News or a third party to get another search engine and take them on. That's the free market system is probably the best way to do it. I'm not big on regulations and government involved. Government involvement makes nothing better unless you want it more expensive and more and stupid. Right. So I think the free market solution is the one, but people need to be aware they've been manipulated heavily on Google.
And the other thing is this: if you go to Google and you Google Bing, or if you go to Bing and you Bing Google, it tears a hole in the internet.
Yeah, and then if you try to ask Google, say, is Google a tech monopoly that's dangerous? It will direct you to adorable cat videos, which you'll watch for about an hour.
Exactly, that's the time suck. That's the hole in the internet that gets ripped in it. All right, Ron Hart, nationally syndicated columnist. Get him online. Google Ron Hart. He's at Orange County Register, Chattanooga Times Free Press, all over the place. Ron, thanks for being on the show, my man.
All right, Jake.
There you go, Ron Hart. Like to talk to him each week. Always got good perspectives here for our listening audience in the Nation of Jake. We've got a news cruise to get to, all the latest headlines in a leisurely fashion. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News update. Why did the mother of the El Paso shooting suspect call police in his hometown, Allen, Texas, weeks before the killing spree? Correspondent Steve Futterman.
The suspect's mother was concerned because of his age, his lack of experience, and his maturity level. But police informed the mother that because her son was 21, he was legally allowed to buy the weapon.
Police in El Paso say 21-year-old Patrick Crusius will face capital charges, first by the state and then apparently by the federal government. Police Chief Greg Allen.
It's going to be a dual prosecution. U.S. Attorney is going to take a secondary role to the state of Texas. Texas will prosecute first, and then the federal government will do a secondary prosecution of the individual.
More than 200 mayors have now joined together to urge the Senate return from its August break to act on gun control legislation, including expanded background checks. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Chenevey.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Marie Pisano of the Finding My Yes radio show. We got a new talk show that interviews celebrities in film, music, TV, and some interesting people from Memphis to around the world. We even feature some music from emerging artists. Don't miss us Sundays at 4 p.m. right here on The Voice FM 107.9 and AM 990. Brought to you by ECT Go Heroic.
Your dog is a furry member of your family, and they deserve the highest level of care. Dogtopia has award-winning daycare, boarding, and spa services. They are the safest, cleanest, and most transparent dog daycare and boarding option for you. The best part? You can check in with your dog anytime on the video stream on your phone. Dogtopia, located at Carriage Crossing. Find out more at dogtopia.com to schedule your dog's best day ever.
This is Clark Howard.
There was a story in Market Watch that has gone viral around the country. It's about a couple in the Midwest that is complaining that they just can't get by on $500,000 a year in income. So, as you might imagine, people have been harshing on them from every direction. And Market Watch had their actual spending that they have each month. The good news is that a lot of their spending was completely beyond the pale. And it's going to be very easy for them not only to balance their budget, but to save money as well. But here's the thing. A lot of people angry at that couple. The truth is that we as Americans, the more money we make, we got a new job, we got a raise, whatever, we automatically start spending more. It's up to you and me to consciously save every month before we spend.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube, the channel Nation of Jake, one word, Nation of Jake. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake. It's about that time. We need to hop on the boats. This is called the News Cruise. It's a leisurely look at the headlines. We do it every day here in the Nation of Jake. It's brought to you by our friends at Just Windows Home Services. News. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. The News Cruise. Full of exciting news. The News Cruise. So relax and kick off your shoes. All right, welcome aboard the News Cruise, brought to you by Just Windows Home Services. Those guys at Just Windows, they can do anything. Not just windows, although they're called Just Windows. You see, they can clean your gutters, they can do pressure washing, blinds, ceiling fans, change light bulbs that are way up high. That's right, yeah. And I think I read that they had the first human case of West Nile virus in Shelby County has been reported. So if you've got all those mosquitoes breeding in the debris in your gutters, you need to keep those clean. Keep your roof and gutters clear of all that stuff. The guys from Just Windows Home Services can help you with that. They can come by, give you a free estimate. You just got to call 751-3934. That's 751-3934. You tell them you heard about Just Windows on the Nation of Jake, and they'll give you 20% off that free estimate. Okay, so here on the News Cruise, our top story is still, we've got a prison escapee on the loose. Curtis Ray Watson, age 44, stands 5'11", 180 pounds. Escaped from the state penitentiary in Henning, Tennessee, about 60 miles north of Memphis on Highway 51. The reward for the capture of Curtis Ray Watson is now at $52,000. All right, earlier it was $32,000. The state was offering $25,000 for information leading to Watson's arrest and conviction, in addition to a $2,500 reward from the TBI and $5,000 from the ATF. But the FBI and U.S. Marshals later added $10,000 more each to the reward, bringing the total to $52,500. Now, Curtis Ray Watson is dangerous. He is suspected in the murder of a Tennessee Department of Corrections worker, an administrator there on the grounds of the state penitentiary. And so we need to be vigilant. If you see Curtis Ray Watson or have his whereabouts, you should call law enforcement 901 or 1-800-TBI-FIND. All right, so that is a manhunt underway here in West Tennessee for this escaped inmate. We also have an update on Billy Ray Turner, who is going to go on trial for the murder of Lorenzen Wright. He was in court today for an unrelated case. He pleaded guilty to gun charges, being a felon in possession of a weapon. Now, he was sentenced to 16 years on these charges. Again, Billy Ray Turner, who was the alleged co-conspirator with Shara Wright in the murder of Lorenzen Wright, was sentenced today to unrelated gun charges. And he got 16 years. He has to serve 35% of those 16 years, so he'll do 5.6 years minimum for these unrelated gun charges. Now, if I recall, Shara Wright will do fewer than 8 years for conspiring to murder Lorenzen Wright. Billy Ray Turner is going to get just 2 fewer years for an unrelated gun charge than Shara Wright is for the murder of Lorenzen Wright. Now, Billy Ray Turner still has yet to stand trial for his part in the murder of Lorenzen Wright. That will be taken up in September. Man, that just doesn't seem correct. It doesn't seem right. Shara Wright getting 7 years and then parole, possibly, while Billy Ray Turner, for an unrelated gun charge, just possessing a weapon, is going to get 5.6 minimum. It just, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that. We'll see what happens in the Billy Ray Turner trial in September. A local watchdog group, the Beacon Center of Tennessee, is calling the resources spent on Wharton's dispute with his neighbor, A.C. Wharton, a waste of taxpayer money. As we've covered the past couple days, Mayor A.C. Wharton, former mayor of Memphis and Shelby County, went to his neighbor's house because she was having some sort of Airbnb party. A party was thrown at her house that she was renting out into Airbnb, and so he allegedly made some calls to city and county officials to pay her a visit, which amounted to harassment. In fact, Karima McLeod was in environmental court because she had a couple of broken pickets on her fence and some overgrown shrubs, because code enforcement was called in the aftermath of these parties that were thrown at her place. Now imagine that. Imagine, you live next door to the former mayor, he makes some calls, code enforcement comes out, and then you've got to go to environmental court over some broken fence boards? That's excessive. Well, the Beacon Center of Tennessee is saying this is out of hand. They've got their eye on this whole situation. Here in Cordova, a former manager at Dave & Buster's out there. The Dave & Buster's in Cordova has not been open long, but the former manager is facing a felony charge after allegedly stealing $132,000 from the safe and more than $9,000 from the photo booth there at Dave & Buster's. He was let go from his position. Police were contacted. Dave & Buster's have him on surveillance video stealing over $140,000. That's a bold move there. Hey, these Spin scooters have arrived in Memphis. That's right. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Spin and Bolt are 2 new scooter companies that are launching in Memphis, and Spin is already on the streets. So now we have Bird and Lime and Spin. We have so many scooters on the streets of Memphis, and they're just getting left anywhere and everywhere. Spin has staff members for customer support, and they're going to hire people as the market grows. Bird and Lime do not have staff members for customer support here live that you can go and talk to if you got a problem with the old scooters. That said, man, I was leaving the Orpheum the other night after Hamilton, and all these people are leaving at one time, and there was a blockage. And I'm like, did somebody fall down? Why is everybody stopped in navigating around? And it turned out because there were like a couple of bird scooters just right there on the sidewalk outside the Orpheum. And the things are a hazard. I don't like them. We got a bunch of other stuff, man. I can't even get through all this. We got too much of this. Too much news. Not enough time. I'll tell you what. We'll wrap things up and get you set up for the Earl Farrell Show. I'll find something to talk about, and I promise it'll be both compelling and entertaining when we do that. And we'll wrap things up and get you set up for Earl. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.CryLike.com.
Free Talk Live. I wanted to run some new ideas I had past you guys.
Okay, cool. We'll be your sounding board there, Prez.
Ice Cream Day.
I love Ice Cream Day. Is awesome. We should have Ice Cream Month and different flavors, just like Baskin Robbins.
Every Friday, Americans get free ice cream.
Now, I don't know about that. Now, wait a minute. From where, George? Ice Cream Angel's going to bring it down?
Free Talk Live, Sunday through Friday nights on KWAM, The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
This is Andy Wise, your consumer investigator, and I belong to the Crescent Club. All my wise choices gather at the Crescent Club for mixers and private dining. The gourmet menu, top shelf. And happy hour? Hey, if you've never had a cocktail 9 stories high on the patio soaking in the East Memphis skyline, then hear this. I won't entertain my clients anywhere else because I made the wise choice. I belong to the Crescent Club, 6075 Poplar Avenue on top of the Crescent Center.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
Welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9 AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on YouTube for a few minutes more before we get you set up for the Earl Farrell program. Coming up in about 12 minutes or so. So keep it right here on The Voice. The Nation of Jake podcast will be ready for stream or download shortly after the program concludes, which will be shortly after now because we have approached the end of the program. So last night, my daughter was scheduled to have a little soccer tryout out at the field, but then the bottom fell out of the sky, and that got postponed. So there was no drama last night. There was no soccer tryout, so that's been postponed till tomorrow. So I will let you know next week whether or not Eva made the team, if I even know. I don't know what the timeline is. That said, tonight, more excitement in the old cookhouse. It's Meet the Teacher night. Now, I've got 2 little girls, all right? EK is a veteran, all right? She's going into 2nd grade. She's got this. She's got elementary school licked. She knows how to do it. The one I'm worried about is a little bit. We got Olivia. She kind of does things her own way. She's not exactly a rule follower, all right? So she starts kindergarten, and she's also not really good at change. She's not good with transitions. Once she gets something the way that she likes it that way and only that way. So she kind of is a rule follower in that she likes her rules to be followed. So we are kind of anticipating how this is going to go. We do know who her teacher is, and so that's good. And I know this teacher. I know that she's a nice lady, and she's going to do right by my kid. But I'm just kind of waiting to see how Olivia's going to react to this kindergarten thing. And that's one of the fun things about being a parent is because you kind of have these little experiments, these little science experiments. That's what they are. The kids, there's a stimulus, and they have got a reaction, and you just try different things, and you figure out what works. So I'm excited about tonight. Just little stuff like that. It's weird. It's like I'm excited about Meet the Teacher Night. My kid's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I know who it is. Yeah, fine, we'll go over there. That's fine. But I'm all kind of nervous about it, just kind of working things out. Hey, there's something coming up at the Orpheum, and I got word about this, and this is exciting. All right, I know that Hamilton was a big deal, and my wife took me to see Hamilton, and it was a lot of fun. But now it's time for me to take my wife to something that I like, and this is going to be good stuff. Earl, are you familiar with MST3K? Are you an MST3K fan? Mm-mm. Mystery Science Theater 3000. Now, this is a show. I used to watch it. It was on Comedy Central or whatever Comedy Central was called before Comedy Central. I think it was called Ha. Before it was called Comedy Central. Okay? This is a show where it is literally a guy and a couple of his robot friends, and they watch a movie, a really bad movie, and they make fun of it. Mm. I mean, that's the gig.
It's just little profiles from the shot from behind.
That's correct.
And they go, look at this.
Right. Well, it's not so much as Beavis and Butthead. It's kind of like the same thing, though. Beavis and Butthead did the same thing with videos. But this has been around since 1988. They've been doing this. Joel Hodgson, this was his baby. He came up with it. He's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have this little world where I hang out in space with these robots, and we watch terrible films, and we just crack wise during them. And it's kind of a cult thing. I mean, people really love it. This is going to be a lot of fun. I believe November 23rd is when they are going to do the live Mystery Science Theater 3000 at the Orpheum. Tickets go on sale Friday. The movie that they'll be making fun of is the old classic No Retreat, No Surrender. This was back in the day in the 80s when karate was big. You had all these different, like Best of the Best. You had all these karate movies. And so this one is the way they describe it is fantastic. The story of a self-conscious teen who becomes a martial arts master under the tutelage of Bruce Lee's ghost, played by a Bruce Lee lookalike who looks nothing like Bruce Lee. Also in the cast, according to MST3K, is a fresh-faced Jean-Claude Van Damme as a brooding hitman. So this was like when JCVD was just breaking into the business. A classic martial arts hit. It's got everything. It's got the kid. He's being trained by the ghost of Bruce Lee. And you got Tom Servo and Crow and Gypsy. And you got Joel. That's going to be fun. I'm going to check that out. Ticketmaster has the tickets, and they are on sale Friday. So if my wife is listening, she's already in queue. She's already waiting to get us tickets to MST3K Live at the Orpheum. Let's go. I mean, that's what I do at home. I watch movies and just make fun of them. It's like going to my own show. All right, coming up is Earl Farrell. I'll be back tomorrow at 1. So long, and thanks for all the fish.